Hello everyone, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today marks the first battle report or Age of Sigmar with my new Stormcast army. So if you've been, don't mind the banging, it's windy. If you've been following the hobby series, whether in English or in French, this is going to be the first battle that I'm playing with the new army. There will be things in this battle report that you've not seen in the series, because I'm a bit ahead in terms of models compared to uploads, but that's just the way it is. So today, it's going to be 900 points, so at least I'm bringing 900 points, of Stormcast Eternals versus Seraphon. It's actually my first game with Seraphon since way back in an Elfin adventure. I think this was before battle tomes were a thing, as the last time I played Seraphon, so this is going to be an interesting challenge. I've got no idea what my opponent's bringing. If you haven't worked it out yet, I'm still at home. I haven't even gone to Games Workshop yet to play, so I don't know what my opponent's bringing. They say they're a couple of points over, but we'll balance that out, and it's going to be a really, really interesting game. It's the first time I'm going to bring my Stormcast army to the table, and I've got a lot to consider how I'm going to play the game. The reason I'm doing this intro here is because, well, I'm in France and this is going to be a French battle report. This battle report was filmed in French in its entirety, and as a result, the game will be filmed entirely in French. I'm talking in fast and not having to play the game yet. This game is entirely in French. However, I'm going to do a full English dub for this video. So you will not hear the clattering of dice, you will not hear banter with the opponent, because the opponent is a French speaker, and I'm not going to try and force them to do double takes to try and speak English with me. So I'm just going to dub over it. However, if you wish to watch the French Battle Report, as usual with this hobby series, that will be out tomorrow. So today you're watching the game on the Monday, and the French version, if you want to hear the full undiluted version, will be out on the Tuesday. So you can look forward to that if you wish. Honestly, I have no idea how this game's going to go. I haven't seen my opponent's army. I've never used Stormcast before. So we've got a lot to consider. So if you wish to place your bets in the comment below on how you think I'm going to get on, then feel free to do so, because you have about as much of an idea as I do. And for those wondering about whether my dice are cursed, I'm having to buy new dice and a new tape measure out here, so you can't say my dice are cursed because I've not got my dice with me, so you can't blame it on that one either. So this is going to be the first battle report for Age of Sigmar with my new Stormcast army, and I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get to the armies, to the game, and we'll see how it goes. Place your bets. So, here we are. Welcome to this game. This is going to be a really interesting one. The mission we're playing today is called Field of Glory. It's from Open War. We're playing Open War today, and it's effectively like Seized Ground for those of you who know 40k. So there's a middle objective marker, and then each of us will then place a second objective marker in our deployment zone, but not on the board edge. So mine is there, and my opponent's is there. It's kind of buried under some models. And the way it works is at the end of turn 5, whoever controls the most objective markers wins the game. That's basically how it works. But if you control all 3 at the end of any of your turns, you win immediately. So, yeah, you can actually alpha strike this game quite nastily. We then have the Trick ability. This is a healing power. So at the beginning of each of our hero phases, we can choose a friendly unit to regain the 3 wounds, which is pretty nice, pretty useful. We've both got chunky armies. It's Seraphon and Stormcast after all. And on top of that, we then have the ruses. Now, I have less wounds than my opponent. I have 50 and he has 97. And I also have less models. This means that I get 2 ruse cards. You can see one of them there. That is an ability that gives out as long as my general is alive, I do not have to take Battle Shock. That's basically what it does. So as long as my general's alive, no battle shot test. And this card that you can see here basically means I get to set a piece of terrain near to one of my units on fire in the hero phase, and anyone who crosses it afterwards or goes and ends in it will die. That's basically how that works, and this is me showing off the other card. As long as my general's alive, I don't take morale checks. Now, I have 900 points on the board today. My opponent has brought 950 just because numbers. And yeah, it's no real fancy business here. The army is as follows. Lord Aquilor leading the army, Justinian Bloodbreaker. Of course, I've got him. We then have 5 Vanguard Hunters with a Prime and an Astral Compass. We have a Knight Heraldor, 5 Liberators,
who are just there with their shields, one with a Grand Hammer. We then have 5 more Vanguard Hunters, again Prime and Compass. The Prime is that one, and then 5 Decimators. These are Paladins. They've got a Star Soul Mace, and they do a lot of attacks. You haven't seen them yet in the series, but I will be covering them, and they're using Scions of the Storm. The Hunters are using the Astral Compass ability to outflank. That's thanks to having the Stormcast Legions, I can do that. My opponent, Saurus Sunblood, is his general today. It's a pretty chunky guy. He's a Saurus, what do you expect? His secondary hero is a Skink Star Priest, so a reasonable wizard. He's then got 30 Saurus Warriors in one unit, 30, and 40 Skinks. Because reasons. Now this does form a battalion. I think the Sunblood and the Saurus is a battalion, which does a couple of little extra things. Seraphon players, you'll know what it is. And then we've got 3 Pterodon riders as well. Fast, shooty, general nuisance to deal with. That's pretty much all the things you need to know going into this game. Now, obviously, I've got the smaller army and less units, so I finished first. So I will be taking the first turn. Or sorry, I put that another way. I have the option of choosing who's going to take the first turn. And actually, I didn't choose to take the first turn at all. I gave it to my opponent. I know how powerful double turn can be in Age of Sigmar, and so I thought it would be better to hand over double turn. Or hand myself the option to have double turn by handing over first turn to my opponent. I know it's a little bit cruel, but it was always the way it was going to be. As far as relics and things go, I have given myself an extra attack with my blade, and he's also got a 5-up invulnerable save against mortal wounds. My opponent has given his Skink Star Priest an effectively what he called a Kamehameha attack, just sort of a little blast. His Sunblood has got an extra rend, and he can reroll 1 failed hit roll in the movement phase. No, combat phase. Movement phase, why do you roll to hit in the movement phase? So that's everything we need to know. Yeah, me and my opponent are just debating here because he can't remember exactly what his abilities are. And this game was going to be interesting because Age of Sigmar is about number of models on the objective, I was a little worried about just getting drowned in bodies. But we're playing on this 4x4 board, and because I've got the option, I've got my reserves there. And as I said, I will be going second. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. So if you haven't already, place your bets. This is your chance. So, with all that said and done, let's, yeah, sorry, I spent a lot of time rambling to myself in French, so I can't quite remember how long I'm going to need to talk, but we're pretty much ready. So, with all of this done, let us get on with the game. Here we go. So, you join us now at the end of the first battle round. We actually, mainly because I didn't want to do too much filming in Games Workshop, I instead of doing it as turns, I did it as battle rounds. So, Seraphon went first. There was just a general movement forwards. Nothing was in range, so not a lot happened. The Saurus were hit with a couple of spells, so they are -1 to hit against them all the time, and their jaw attacks have a chance of being damaged 2 on a 6 to wound. They've also got an extra jaw attack. That is the main trick of the battalion. But there's nothing too much happened there in their turn. In my turn, I dropped in my Decimators using Scions of the Storm. They came in on a 3+, worked perfectly. I used the ability of my Lord Aquilor, his command ability, to teleport him across the board. It wasn't the Winds Etheric. I used his command ability to leave the board and outflank on. He then shot at a Pterodon. The Knight Heraldor used his Thunderblast ability to do some more damage, and the Lord Aquilor then charged in, killed one, and now they're disengaged from one another due to proximity. So, not too bad a start, I would say. I've also got some Vanguard Hunters over on the far side. You'll see them in a second. Between them and a couple of other bits, we did some damage to the Saurus. The Decimators attempted to charge, but they unfortunately failed. And other than that, was just general movement forward. Nothing too special, really. So, here we go. This is the roll-off for turn. My opponent rolled a 3. And then I rolled a 5. Yeah, I got double turn. I feel really bad, and this is the one thing that always bothers me about AOS, is the existence of double turn. But I had to play the game like I was playing any other game, and that means I had to play to try and win the game. So I do the thing that was the most likely thing to give me a chance to win the game, and that was, of course, to take double turn. So after a profuse apology to my opponent, I will be taking double turn, so we'll join you at the end of the second battle round. And the Stormcast will be starting, and remember, the objectives are not really going to matter until the end of round 5. So, that's everything. Just time to get yourself set up, and we'll join you at the end of the second round. Here we go. So, you join us now at the end of the second battle round, and yeah, this was a very bloody turn. A cold, bloody turn. So, I used my Lord Aquilor to flank around a little bit. He did some shooting. He is now sadly dead. I'll explain why in a minute. He flipped round and he attacked the Skinks, which was really nasty. He killed a good chunk, and then a huge amount ran away to Battle Shock. I think it was like 12 when you combine the shooting, the -2 aura of the Decimators, and the damage. They lost loads of models. They lost like 8 to Battle Shock alone. 12 died, 8 ran. That was it. So half the unit died in one turn. The Decimators charged the Saurus, did some really good work with their Thunder Axes, which get 1 attack per model in range. So they did some good work. Some general shooting also helped whittle them down. I did lose 2 models, and I lost 2.5 models in effect. The Vanguard Hunters were also able to kill 1 Saurus. They charged both units, but the Skinks have an ability that allows them to retreat when it's their pick. My opponent actually forgot to use this, he picked in the wrong order, which meant that his Skinks couldn't retreat from my Lord Aquilor, which allowed me to do a load of damage. He then charged his Saurus Sunblood and combined his Star Priest, his shooting, and basically everything into my Aquilor, and killed him. Pretty much one-shotted him. I nearly survived it, but I did lose them all on my Aquilor, so my general is dead, which is kind of sad. But I should have control of 2 objectives going into the next round. And now we are going to roll for round 3, and I'm feeling good at this point. I'll do a full post-game analysis when we're done here, but here we go. Time to roll. And I roll a 2, and my opponent rolls a 2, so here we go again. Second attempt. And oh, are we going to roll? Yep, we're going to roll, aren't we? He rolls a 2, and I get a 3. So the Stormcast keep the initiative going into the third battle round. And I do feel bad for my opponent that I keep getting turned on him at this point in time. But it's gone my way so far. We'll have to see if it continues. So we will see you at the end of the third battle round. The casualties are starting to pile up. Will the Seraphon numbers start to tell? Let's find out. Okay, round 3, and things are starting to get interesting. I'm worried at this point. So, my Vanguard Hunters in that back corner came round and assassinated the Star Priest. Really good, got round, but I screwed up. I left them within 3 inches of the Sunblood, who was able to pile in and massacre the lot of them. At least that's how we think the rules work. Remember, because of the objectives, if I'd have actually not just died, I'd have actually just won the game then and there. So, oops. However, the Decimators are still chunking away at the Saurus. They're down to just the Prime now, who's on 2 wounds out of 3. No, he's down to 1 wound. Sorry, we were counting up in this game. But there's only a couple of Saurus left, so we're doing fine. The Sunblood then, in his turn, came forward, charged those Vanguard Hunters, killed 2, 3.5 in combination with the shooting. But he's now on 5 wounds. He's basically healed himself now for about 5 wounds, so he should be dead by this point. But his healing abilities are keeping him alive, and they're keeping my Decimator Prime alive. So, it's getting tense, and as we take the roll, I get a 1. I get a 1. Oh, my opponent also rolled a 1. Alright, 2, and a 5. Okay, so the Seraphon will be getting us started in the 4th battle round, and I'm nervous right now, so let's see what happens in round 4. Are those numbers and the power of that Sunblood actually going to put paid to my army? We shall have to find out, but it's going to get close. And remember, that healing ability screwed me over. Here we go. Okay, it's round 4, and oh god, is it close. So, the Sunblood, who was in combat with the Vanguard Hunters, the Prime was left on 1 wound. So I was so nearly dead, but they managed to take 2 off in return, which is good. The Decimator is now sadly dead, but thanks to the Heraldor, he used his Thunderblast ability on the building, which did D3 wounds. I rolled a 5 up, and he died. The general for the enemy is down. This is really huge, because otherwise I was absolutely going to lose. My basic plan at this point is now I'm going to try and use my Hunter Prime to stall, because the Saurus are all dead. I was able to shoot the last one down with the Hunter. It's really, really close. It's basically, can the Skink Conga line manage to cap both objectives, or am I going to be able to stall them out and take it? So, here we go. This is the final roll for double turn. Is the Seraphon going to get it or the Stormcast? I get a 6. Oh, I get a 6 at a crucial time. And my opponent can only manage a 5. So the Stormcast will be taking first turn in the final battle round. It is incredibly close. And the ending, the ending. Well, you'll just have to find out in about 5 seconds, you'll see. So, here we go. 5th battle round. So, Here we are, this is the end, and oh my god. So in my turn, the Vanguard Hunter attempted to shoot the Skinks. He actually completely whiffed. He managed to make a 6+ save. The Heraldor killed a couple with his Thunderblast ability. Nothing major. However, I then tried to charge, and I rolled double 1. So I failed a 3-inch charge. And that was a big, big problem. So the Skinks were then able to advance in their turn. They shot down the Hunter Prime and made ready to launch their charge. Basically, you can see, the Heraldor is on the objective. So anyone within 3 inches of him is on the objective, but they've got to be more than 3 inches away. That's how we played it. So the basic rule of how this roll was going to go was double 1, lose the game. And that's what happened. My opponent rolled a double 1. Oh, I fell about laughing. I'm so sorry to my opponent. So he rolled a double 1, he failed the charge, so he couldn't get within 3 inches of the objective, and that's the game. It's a Stormcast victory by 2 objectives to 1. I'm going to go into a full breakdown after this clip ends of what went well, what went not so well, which you won't get in the French version, by the way, which is coming out tomorrow. You can actually see the unedited, uncommentated version. You see the raw footage and raw commentary. But I have to say my army did reasonably well. I'll discuss the ins and outs in a minute. And yeah, a really good welcome back to Age of Sigmar. A really bloody game, a really interesting game, and one that's given me a lot to think about going forward, but I'm not too disappointed in myself, and I'm certainly not disappointed in my army. So, that is the end of the gameplay segment. It is a victory for the Stormcast. I won a battle report, I know, it's amazing. So, now we're going to cross over, and I'm going to give you my full analysis on how I think the game went. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. It is a victory in my first battle report for my new Stormcast army. And I have to say, a fantastic game. I don't think my commentary for the English version quite conveys how much fun that game was. If you listen to the French commentary, you can sort of hear it in my voice, quite how excitable I got during that game. So when the French version comes out tomorrow, if you want to give it a listen, you sort of get a feel for how I was feeling as the game went on, just by listening. So, now I get to do my thoughts on the army, on my generalship, and all of that stuff. Bear in mind, I was playing against an army that was nearly twice my wound count, and I was outcosted. So, yes, I got extremely lucky, but take that as you will. I was outwounded, outcosted, and still was able to just snatch a victory through obscene luck. I have to admit, getting double turn was hugely important for me. If I hadn't had double turn, it could have been really bad because I was able to pin the Saurus warriors with my decimators. I was able to do huge amounts of damage to the Skinks before they could shoot. Admittedly, my general, I'll talk about my general in a minute. I didn't really use him properly, but having the ability to attack first all the time was really important. I admit I lost it on turn 4, and I was worried the game was swinging back to my opponent. And it was, and to be honest, I should have lost that game. It was just a double 1 charge that meant that I lost, that I won. But then if I'd have been able to make the charge with my Hunter Prime and force the Skinks to retreat away, it could have made his charge harder going forward. So it could have gone either way. But having said all of that, I have to say well done to my army. It performed well, and it did some good work. So going unit by unit, the Lord Aquilor definitely could have done more, but that's because I used him badly. He's the only maneuverable element the army's got right now, or is the only way to get maneuverability into the army thanks to his command ability and the fact that he's really fast anyway. So throwing him into a backline charge and then having him killed was a mistake. I want him to function sort of as an assassin character in the army in future, but having said that, I need to have other maneuverable elements in my army before I can commit to that fully. So something like Vanguard Paladors, heck, even the chunky cavalry of the Extremis Chamber might be something worth looking into. And of course, I will be getting the Knight Venator and the Knight Azeros eventually, so they'll add some maneuverability too. And yeah, some maneuverability is needed if I'm going to throw my general around like that. He did all right. He had his chance to attack actually against the Sunblood, or did he? Yeah, he did get to attack, and he did do some good work. If it weren't for the healing ability, he would have actually been able to finish off the Sunblood, but the Sunblood had healed himself up a bit. So he would have actually got the kill if it weren't for the healing abilities, which is fine. So I can't really argue too much. And if he'd have then been able to heal himself up, or let's take the healing out of the game for a second, he would have then been able to go and assassinate the Star Priest, and I'd have actually won the game. So the healing ability cost me a quick win, in a way. The Vanguard Hunters did really well. The flanking unit that I sent in using the Astral Compass was able to do some good damage. My opponent did Castle Up deploy to stop me doing what I wanted to do, because he knew what I was going to do, because I'd mentioned how Vanguard Hunters work and how Silence of the Storm works. He knew what I was going to do, and he deployed appropriately. But they flanked in a good position, they chipped away, they were able to do a little bit of damage, and they forced a response. And if they didn't get a response, which they didn't, then they were able to go in, assassinate the Star Priest, and if it weren't for my bad placement, I would have won the game there and then. So, yeah, they did really well. The other unit that held the line did some really good chip damage throughout the game, pinging at the Sunblood, pinging off a couple of Saurus, pinging off a couple of Skinks. They did some really good work, and of course, they held the line against the Sunblood just long enough for me to finish him off with the Heraldor. The Knight Heraldor was amazing. I bought him kind of on a whim. I like the idea of the Knight Heraldor as a fun idea for a unit. He gives a unit the ability to run and charge, and he has his Thunderblast ability, which damages units near terrain. And that ability was amazing. I think it killed most of a Pterodon. It finished off the Sunblood, killed probably 4 Saurus and 4 or 5 Skinks throughout the game. It was a really good ability, and I thoroughly think the Heraldor is going to become a fixture of the army. So thank you to him. He was my man of the match. The Decimators did some really good work. I thought they were going to do more work than they actually did, but that pesky -1 to hit spell for the first couple of turns while they were attacking the Saurus meant that their damage output was greatly reduced, and a 2-inch reach on a unit like that is not as ludicrous as it sounds. You'd think you want to throw them into a horde, but the problem is the horde was very spread out. So they were only in range of probably 2 or 3 guys at a time, particularly if I was picking them to attack first, so it wasn't perfect. They did do good work, and of course they held up really well without having Mystic Shield to buff their save or anything like that. They only got 1 little round of healing, so they did hold the line very well, and the Star Soul Mace was very useful. That was to kill 5 or 6 Saurus, so I can't really argue. I just wish they'd made their charge on turn 1, which would have kept the Saurus penned in and got me another round of attacking, although at the same time I did get double turn, so it's maybe not so bad. The Liberators I didn't get a chance to get a look at. The Liberators, as you probably noticed, were just home objective camping, and that's why I want this army to have Judicators. I will be expanding to include some more ranged elements into the army as I go into the Warrior Chamber, because I've explained it in the hobby series if I haven't done so already. I need a ranged element, but I can't get all my Vanguard stuff together right now, so Vanguard Raptors are not immediate, although I'd have loved to have Vanguard Raptors in this game. So Judicators are on the plan, and they will be my home objective campers, and the Liberators can actually do some work. But they did make a good solid objective holder, and if I'm honest, my opponent mentioned this, I probably should have switched the Heraldor with the Liberators so I had more units to hold the line. That was my mistake, but I got away with it. That's everything that the army really did. As far as I played, I misused the General and I misused the Liberators, but the idea of having a little bit on the board and using the outflank and using Silence of the Storm to make up for the low movement of Paladins, I don't think that worked. So I'm not going to say my game plan was perfect, and I'm sure you'll have your critique of it in the comments below, but I'm quite happy with how that game went. So that is everything for today. If you want to see the French version, then that's coming out tomorrow, of course. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Suggestions for the army going forward, either leave them here or in the comments of the hobby series, or whatever you decide to do. So thank you all for watching. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis, and until the next time, I will see you all again. Bye for now.